It's okay.
Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, uncovering paranormal events, distinguishing what's real and what's not, and what makes a place haunted. And later, a film set in a school filled with mysteries. A story that will haunt Filipino moviegoers soon. Eerie director Mikhail Red and paranormal investigator Frank Regis joins us live. And later, from the hanging coffins of Sagada to the sunken cemetery of Camiguin, a list of odd cemeteries on today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Dealing with paranormal events remains controversial. And in this day and age of social media, how do you decipher if it's an authentic paranormal activity? Also, how do you spot these kinds of events and how do you address them? Let's go straight to the source of the story, paranormal investigator Frank Regis. Hi, Frank. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, everybody.
So let's start with this. What are paranormal activities?
Well, paranormal, it means that it's happening parallel to what's happening here. It's just like it's like two television stations or two cables. You watch one frequency, you switch to another frequency. They're both happening at the same time. So we are in the human frequency, and some entities live in another frequency. So it's paranormal. Sometimes there is an interface. A portal, so to speak, opens, and then one gets to experience the other dimension, and they come into our dimension.
But why do people experience the other dimension? What is it in them that allows them to experience another dimension? Must you be trained for that? Must you be special? Ganun ba?
Not necessarily, except that most people are not aware anymore of this gift. When we are born into this particular lifetime, we have a particular mission, and maybe this is not our main purpose. But some people retain that, that ability to tune in to different frequencies. And so they are able to detect or feel or see, if the other frequency. Those are my pictures.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later. But for someone like you, who's a paranormal investigator, how did this start for you?
Well, for me, I grew up with it as a boy in a small town in southern Leyte, and for me it was real. The whole community considered all of this paranormal, these other entities, invisible beings, as real. It was natural. Nobody questioned the reality. We talk about Capre, we talk about Aswang, we talk about this and that, and it was all taken as a matter of fact.
So are those part of the paranormal world?
Well, yeah, they're neighbors. They're kind of, it's like, it's a different station. But there is an interface. And these other entities in another dimension want to visit. And sometimes they do.
Okay, but what constitutes a paranormal event? Sinong mga kasali from the ones we know that are part of a paranormal activities? Ghosts, ganun ba?
Well, yeah. To be very simple, a paranormal event is something that cannot be explained by science. So that's what they say. But physics can explain all of this. Or B, somebody can see something that somebody doesn't see.
Yeah.
So ghosts, orbs, all of these neighboring entities like dwarfs and encantados and fairies. I have pictures of this. Of these entities.
So what you're saying is these entities obviously exist.
Of course.
You've seen them.
Well, I can see that for me. It's my experience. Yes, of course.
Okay,
they exist for me.
Let's show some of the pictures, and maybe you can explain this to us.
Okay, well, this one is a still picture of an orb, which is actually, okay.
Okay, let's pause on this one. Let's start with this.
Well, I have this bonfire ritual in my corporate workshops in Mount Banahaw, and this is a very healing kind of ritual. And if you will see, there are two hearts there.
Why
Those
are
are
there
orbs in the
hearts
shape of heart, because the workshop is very, very healing and loving. And we do have invisible entities also attending the workshop. But these two hearts just appeared. Ordinarily, it would be an orb. I think I have a picture of an orb there, which is a normal
So we
manifestation.
can see
There, that's an orb right there. That circular thing. They appear in many different. It's usually a manifestation of an alien existence or an energy around.
Right, and that's what it is.
Yeah, that one. But this is there's another picture. This one.
Okay.
If you'll notice, there is an orb below, and there was an orb over there. But this is a still picture. But that orb on if you can see the actual still, that thing flashes there. On top of that, it flashes. It's like it's a still picture, but something is moving in the picture. It's too bad that it's not flashing here.
It's not really captured now, because it just looks like a flash.
Maybe they took a shot of this, because if you look at the actual, it's flashing right up there. The orb disappears, and it's like, it's sending a message.
And these photos were taken by whom?
This one was taken by a very close friend of mine who also consults me, a very good friend, Berna, and asked me about this. Okay. And we were together when this photo was started moving. Okay. Well, this is one of my class in my workshop, and if we will just kind of focus at the very back, there is somebody there who graduated with them, but and you can clearly see she's a lady. She's a pretty lady.
Where?
And she has. You have to focus at the back in the triangular.
I can
shade.
see the triangular shape.
Yeah,
yes. There's a boy in red.
No, there's a lady at the back with the finger that goes like this.
Yung nakaganon.
Yeah, at the back.
Yeah, I see that.
But you have to really. It's very clear if you can just zoom in. If you can zoom in on right there, it's very clear. It's a lady, she's a pretty lady, right there in the shadows.
I see.
And she also has her finger like that at the back.
And what is that supposed to mean?
Oh, she just joined the class. I mean, she's probably one of those invisible staff, so to speak. And maybe she's a friend of some of the members of that group.
Okay, Frank, here's the other question. How do you decipher which are authentic pictures and which pictures could be Photoshopped or edited?
Well, these are my own pictures, so I know that they're not Photoshopped. Like this one is my own picture. This is again in the bonfire area in another class, and there's one right there in front near the fire. You can see that. You can just see the shirt or something. Okay, so these are my own pictures, so I know that this is from my collection.
Here's the thing: how can a camera shot capture them and not the naked eye?
It depends on who is shooting and if the entity wants to be taken a picture of. It depends.
So it's the choice of the entity.
Yeah,
Kung gusto niya magpa-picture o hindi,
it's
basically.
two, yeah. The entity or the one holding the camera has to be some kind of a sensitive or some kind of a medium.
So
not anybody holding a camera can shoot them even if they want to.
So if the entity feels that there is some sort of attraction in a way by the photographer.
Or an interface with the medium. Yes. Then if they want to show themselves, they show themselves.
And why do they show themselves? Is it to scare you?
No, these guys are not scary. You need to understand and know that other world. Fear is just a product of not knowing.
Okay.
So once we know, they're like the dwarf kingdom is the closest frequency to us people, and parallel, literally, they've got gardeners, they've got farmers, they're all over. Okay, these little people.
Yeah,
but they're invisible.
Again, but if we don't want to be scared of them, why do they show themselves like? Very seldom, like once in a while. It makes it a little bit, it makes it scary because they just show up once in a while. It's as if it's obviously not normal.
Okay, let's clear it. There are some who are negative entities and they're really naughty and they scare the heck out of you. Okay, these are the ones we call the black shadows. These are the entities with with a lot of emotional trust, fear, and anger. So they do scare, and some of them really harm. So
they can go as far as harming.
Yeah, they can. So if if you have the same frequency, a case of possession, it's physics, the law of resonance. If a person is very negative inside, so much emotional trash, then the aura is black, and the radiation is very low. Then it attracts, like physics, the law of resonance. They attract negative entities, and some of them are possessed, and they can harm. But if you feel clean inside, and you have peace, and your light, your aura is bright.
They can't penetrate you.
They cannot.
Okay.
It is very simple.
Let's look at this next photo. Is this the...
That's a ferry. There's a part of Banahaw. This is a popular spot called Santa Lucia Falls. It happens to be in the midst of a community of ferries. Now, this one this is a big ferry. It's just all light. This is taken on the daylight, but you can imagine. But where is it now?
Right. Let's talk about the ozone photo. Let's put that up on
many years ago,
okay,
right?
Ano to, Frank?
Well, actually, we investigated this a long time ago, just for curiosity. We were there, and I took a shot of that window on the left side. There are quite a few, 4, looking out of the window right there. But it's not so clear in this photo, but I kept it in my collection anyway, because that was one of the major things we did many years ago.
Well, Grace can see it.
On the left side, yes, they're by the window. They're looking out.
Is Grace real?
Oh, she's very real and she's pretty.
Oh, that's great. She's right here in front of us. You can't see her, only us. Only we can see her.
Yeah, but I can see half of her body. Manananggal pa siguro.
Frank, what about here in the studio? Is there anything you see, feel, or is there anyone behind me?
Studios are favorite haunts.
Oh, why?
Because, for one thing, the guards cannot stop them, and they're curious and they want to watch shows.
They don't need an ID.
Yeah, they don't need an ID. Nobody bothers them.
Do you see anything here?
Well, I don't know if they followed. It's pretty, but in the office, of course, it's pretty normal. They would be kind of taking over when there are vacant seats. Play with, but these are I call attached entities, attached spirits.
But like right now, is there anything you see, you feel around here?
Well, maybe no, because especially the negative ones would be afraid when I'm around.
Is that so? Is that so?
Well, yeah. Sometimes when people ask me to clean their house, papasok pa lang ako, takbuhan na sila.
Why would they be scared of someone like you?
No, because they're negative. It's like exorcising a house, a place because they bother. They bother people. These are negative entities.
So if there are negative entities in a particular place, in a room, in your office, in your house, what can an ordinary person do? Meron ho ba kaming pwedeng gawin?
Well, definitely. The default resort is prayer. And the Our Father is a pretty powerful prayer as Catholics.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you call on your angels?
Oh, absolutely. You can do more than that. You can call Mikhael, the archangel.
Yes, archangel. Yes, of course. But here's another question. When does it get to a point that, kung alam ba nilang takot ka, tatakutin ka nila? Kung alam ba nilang hindi ka takot, hindi ka nila matatakot?
Good question. Yes, because fear is a low frequency, and fear attracts what you're afraid of. So we need to really, fear is the biggest enemy of love. Okay, it's the exact opposite. So when there's fear, the aura, turns dark, and the frequency goes low.
I'm not scared.
And you attract what you're afraid of. And if you are sensitive and you're afraid, that's really a dangerous situation, because they will do something to, have influence.
All right. Okay. Thank you to paranormal investigator Frank Regis. Frank, thanks a lot. And thank you for saying there's nothing here. Nothing you see. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, how to make a Filipino horror film. Eerie director Mikhail Red shares his thoughts after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. A film set in a mysterious Catholic school is poised to scare Filipino moviegoers soon. The upcoming horror film Eerie is top billed by some of the country's biggest stars like Charo Santos Concho and Bea Alonzo. But what makes a horror film effective? Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Eerie director Mikhail Red. Direct Mick, welcome to the show. So good to meet you.
Thank you for having me here.
Congratulations. I saw the trailer and I got scared.
Thanks. We really, worked hard to craft this film, me and my team. So we can't wait to finally share it with the world.
But I have to qualify that madali akong takutin. So I don't know if I'm a good judge. So here's the trailer. I want you to see a portion of it.
Matatandaan na huli si Pascual sa akto habang pinupugutan ng...
Matagal na ako nandito sa Santa Lucia kwentong kumakalat tungkol dito. Sa dami ng kwentong narinig ko, hindi ko na alam kung alin doon ang gawa-gawa. At alin doon ang paniniwalaan ko. Pero ito, ang sigurado akong totoo. Tuwing hating gabi, sa third floor corridor, may makikita kang CR. Sa tulong cubicle.
Kaya talagang hindi dapat pumunta sa CR ng gabi. Ganun yun. Let's talk about the storyline. So you have one of the best stars, well, a couple of the best stars rather, Charo Santos Concho, Bea Alonzo, Jake Cuenca, and Maxine Magalona. Tell us, well, the storyline obviously is it's set in a school in 1990s?
Yeah,
Okay.
90s. Well, it's based on a very familiar urban legend. But basically, Eerie is about this guidance counselor in an all-girls Catholic school. And she, talks to these repressed kids, but at the same time, she has a third eye, and she talks to a ghost that night.
And the guidance counselor, obviously, is Bea Alonzo. And the nuns, because it's run by nuns, this Catholic
it's a
school.
Very strict Catholic school. The Mother Superior is played by Charo Santos Concho.
And what is the role of Jake Cuenca and Maxine Magalona?
Jake is a police investigator, and Maxine is also one of the nuns.
Maxine is all, okay, yeah, that's right. So, I want to just go back to when you guys were shooting this. I know, Direct Mick, that you wanted kind of like a local film that would be sold internationally or accepted internationally. In fact, it's best that you describe that there are three components here that make the film, very amazing and one of a kind.
That's right. Personally, my philosophy as a filmmaker, I always want to create, films that are about, local stories, but crafted for export. In fact, when we were developing Eerie, we first pitched it internationally abroad, but we met Star Cinema and they decided to greenlight this project and partner up with Singapore. So it's an international co-production, and we're actually having our world premiere this December in the Singapore Film Festival before we bring it back home for a local release.
Yun po, kasi baka tanungin nila, bakit mauuna sa Singapore? Is it in December?
Yeah, this December.
Because you're saying that you have an independent filmmaker, you have the biggest production, Star Cinema, and you have a Singapore-based, two foreign companies also coming in, right?
Partners, yeah.
So, partners. So, that will obviously, is that the reason why it's going to be shown in Singapore
Exactly. Yeah.
first?
We, part of our strategy is we wanna tap the international market. We wanna go through the festival circuit, and then once we have enough buzz, we bring it back home and we show it here. So it's a different kind of horror film.
Is it like getting traction abroad first, so that when it does get that traction abroad, it creates a lot of curiosity among the Filipinos?
Exactly, and at the same time, I started out as an independent filmmaker. It's actually my first time working with a big studio. That's the sort of strategy that we use, with my earlier films as well.
And I wanted to talk about that because Birdshot and Neo Manila and then now Eerie. Was that very hard for you to transition?
Not really. I like challenging myself. I like, as a filmmaker, as an artist, I like shifting genres.
Yeah.
Every film I do is, for me, is an opportunity to try something new. So it's actually my first horror film.
Yeah.
And
You like it?
of course, yeah. It's a very technical genre, and I had to basically learn a lot while on set. And it takes a very, I guess, skillful team to pull it off. It's not something that you can do alone. It's a collaborative effort to create a good horror film.
Okay, so we showed a portion of the trailer a while ago. I want to show the continuation, just so we get to hear also what Bea is saying during this trailer. If we have that ready, let's show it.
Classes were suspended for the day. Today we pray, we mourn.
Ano nangyari kay Erica? May namatay dito ng gabi.
Kung manggugulo ka habang ang iba ay nagluluksa, bibigyan kita ng muling pagkakataon. Dasal ka, Patricia, para matahimik ang konsensya.
Gabi, Eerie. Kamusta ka? Labas tayo dito, Miss Pat. Saan tayo pupunta?
Gusto mo pa rin bang sumama?
Kung pwede lang sana lumabas din.
Paparating na siya.
Lahat kasi sila natatakot sa akin. Bakit ikaw hindi?
Dapat ba ako matakot?
Yung mga ano, especially the sound, yung mga nakakatakot na tunog, yung talagang kailangan ipasok mo dun sa, kasi that really makes a horror film as well. What are the biggest challenges would you say about making this horror film?
Well, like I described earlier, it's a very technical genre. So everything has to be on point. Cinematography, the set design, sound design, the camera movements. That's something that we really had to perfect.
Yeah.
And it took us a while. It actually took us like 21 shooting days to make the film. But we were all locked in one location, so we really got used to working together. And once we found that perfect rhythm with the crew and the cast, it was easy and a great experience for all of us.
What was the hardest part or scene in this movie?
I would say the climactic sequence. So without spoiling anything, it took us a lot of shooting days to pull it off. Yeah.
Pero direct sabi mo 21 days?
Yeah.
Well, mabilis din yun, ha?
Yeah, I mean, coming from independent film, that's actually quite long.
Mahaba-haba yun,
But
ano?
I'm sure a lot of mainstream movies, they take more days to finish their films.
Sabi ko nga kay Direk, prior to going on air, it's really, colors like that. They're muted, they're black and white. Palaging ganyan ang horror. And I was saying, it doesn't really depict real life because colors in real life are not like that.
It gives that, I guess, otherworldly feeling, and that's the sort of atmosphere and mood that you really need to, create that tension. And at the same time, it's an aesthetic that I feel really helps, build the scares.
Yeah, scare us. It's an aesthetic that will scare us. Was there any pagpaparamdam during the 21 days of filming? Did that happen?
Well, yeah,
Did you attract anything?
We had some moments where the most of the crew sensed something. Like there was this one shot that we were trying to perfect, and it took us multiple takes, and it needed a very specific beat and marker. So I had to signal the camera to get that take perfect, and we kept repeating it. We couldn't get it right, and then all of a sudden, we heard like a clap, just to get that signal, and we got the shot right. And then I told the whole crew, the whole set, that wasn't me. Yeah, that wasn't me.
So somebody, may gumanon?
I guess the ghosts or the spirits, got frustrated that we kept repeating the same shot that he had to do it himself.
Nasayangan sa oras at napapagod na hata sila.
That was-
Napagod yung mga aswang kakapanood
Yeah,
sa inyo.
exactly. So we couldn't get the shot right, so they had to cue it for us.
Well, that's one good director over there. Mikhail Red, thank you so much, and we wish you luck on this film.
Thank you, and I hope you guys support Eerie when we finally bring it back home first quarter of 2019.
So that's still the first quarter of
Yeah.
2019, so maybe Feb or March.
Yeah, we'll
something
find
like
a
that.
play date. Yeah.
All right, Direct Mick, thanks again. Thank you so much. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, a look at some of the odd cemeteries here in the Philippines. That's for today's In Focus. Time now for today's In Focus here on The Source. Not all cemeteries are white and dreary. Take a look at some odd graveyards in the country. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.